the person has great confidence in you, or they say, oh, Alex really gets me. But then I have to get the person to make a change in their life. You described this in your books very well. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Because people don't like to change.
Right. Everybody wants to change, but nobody wants to do it, right?
Yeah,
So,
true.
because, so we stayed married to the same person forever, and we talk to the same people, we go to the same places, we do the same things, and we all say that, I'm going to do this better next year. I'm going to do this better, and none of those things ever happen. So how do we fix all that? So the deal is this is where, well, there's a couple pieces. The first thing is you have to sit there and ask a person to look at themselves and just say, there's a lot of questions you can ask, but one is like, who are you really? Like who, if this is one-on-one and I'm doing consulting or coaching, it's like who is your business? Like, you're confused, you want to change, you have to change or you're going to die. We're going down. There's a lot of businesses that are going to go down right now. This is the time to reinvent, to shift, to move over, whatever you want to call it. People are going to have to adjust or get their butt kicked. That's the reality of where we're at right now. So you have to do it, and you have to sit there, and you have to get inside of the person that you're talking to. And you got to sit there and think, now, I should be able to write the biography of my customer. People used to say you should know your customer. This is true, but you should be able to write their biography. Like, when you Facebook them, when you looked on Facebook today, like, what did you find out about them? Like, what kind of photos do they put up? Like, do they put up photos of their kids? They put up photos of their business? If you Google the person, what do you learn from that? Like, Google's an interesting thing. It really does a good job at revealing relevant search information. I should be able to know what this person is. I met a company one time, Auntie Anne's Pretzels. They're all over the world. And Anne was a religion, a Mennonite religion, what's called a Mennonite, and a very conservative religion. And I asked her, I said, how important is religion to your business? And she said, I don't know that I would have a franchisee that wasn't a Mennonite. And I was like, really? I go, that is amazing. Now, here's the thing. I asked the question that no one else would ever ask her. Just pause there, right? Who else would bring that up, right? And people expect this from me, right? All the time. It's like, I will ask people things that no one will ask them, okay? Because I really am curious. I genuinely want to understand and know, because I get feelings about people. I'm like, I like this person. I want them to do well. And I'm not going to try and change that. But I did ask her, I said, so what would happen if you found somebody who is a strong faith, they really believed in God, and even though they were wrong about a couple things, like they didn't go to the right church, but like, say that they were really, truly good people, like inside, truly good people, and that they might figure it out someday. Would you be willing to hire that person as a franchisee? And she said, yes. And we just made that little shift.
You nudge a little.
Just a little bump, right? And so you don't want to ask for the whole, like, damn it, you got to change right now. You have to have different things. Instead, we just say, what would happen if? Yeah, and you can do that. This is a
but you also started with people have a false sense of security by staying the same. And you just spoke about it a little bit, that if you stay the same, it's going downhill. So you have to.
Status quo is erosion.
Yeah.
Erosion. I don't know if this is going to translate to everybody. Basically, the status quo, if people, you've got to tell people, because this is the reality. If you're consulting, if you're working with small businesses, our friend Jay Abraham used to say, really, really smart man. He's still around. A friend of mine is actually doing his trainings for him. And he used to say, what got you here is not going to get you to the next step. Never has that been more true than now. So the way that you communicate this with your very astute consultee, the person that you're working with, is this. Say, here's the deal. I know how you got to here. You did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, and then you did this, and you didn't hurt anybody along the way. Now, here's the deal. These things, you were genius, absolute genius. And you weren't genius because you did those 5 things. You were genius because you were smart enough to figure out what 5 things needed to be done. The question now that I have for you is, what are the 5 things that are going to take you from here to here? Because we already know that the same things that got us here are not going to get us to the next step. So what are the things now? What's the process that we go to find the next 5 things to get us over here? I have a hunch, but before I put my hunch out, I'd really like to hear what your thoughts are. And now I listen and I sit there and I think, and I'm like, okay, is that likely to work? Likely to work? Likely to work? If usually people are on target pretty well about themselves, but they don't have any faith in their ability to go to the next step, something new, they get scared.
True. Yeah. So this is
24
great. I want to talk about your product, because you have a lot of products. Can you tell us about, for the viewers, because it's a lot of information. I love how fast you talk. It is a lot of great content. But the people who want to go to the next step, where do you guide them to?
Oh boy, guys, there's a lot of things. But so first of all, go to kevinhogan.com. Must stop by. Click on subscribe, because you lose nothing. All you can do is get smarter. And there's a pretty cool e-zine that I've published for 17 or 18 years. We started in 2002. It comes out about 3 times a month, maybe 4 times a month, every Sunday night, usually pretty close. About 45 times a year is what it is right now. That's worth getting. It directs you to pages that are not Googleable, which is kind of nice. So that's number one. So that's going to get you pretty much the latest, like the lost aversion thing that we talked about earlier. That's the kind of a thing that I would talk about in coffee, but I'm not talking about loss aversion in coffee until the book comes out. But that's the kind of stuff that's going to go into Coffee with Kevin Hogan. That's the name of the e-zine. So that's number one. Number two, you can spend some money today and actually make a difference. Now, by the way, spending money is pretty important, right? Because think about this. When the criminal goes next door and steals something from the neighbor's house, right? Whatever it is, do they use it in a way to make their life better and actually have something good happen with it? No. All right, that's why they're criminals. That's why they go to places like jails and stuff like that. So I want you to think about this. Every time you actually do a good investment, there is something about money involved. Money is a survival tool. Wouldn't it be cool if we ended up with more? I've taken the last 4 years off, okay? I've been traveling the world the last 4 years. I've lived in Bulgaria. I've lived in Poland. I've had a blast in Europe. I've been around. I've had a fun time. I've still been working. Don't think I haven't worked. I did the biggest gig in my life 2 years ago. It was a great time. All right. It was a great time. If you want to be able to take 4 years off and not worry and freak out about, oh my God, what's going to happen? Because everybody else on this planet is paycheck to paycheck. They have to work just to pay the bill next month. Wouldn't it be cool to learn to pay the bill and have them paid like for the next 4 years? And here's the deal. You should be able to, by the time you have a beard like this, you should be able to do it for 14 years. And you can, because if you just do a few things differently, I can't teach you in 1 day. I'm not that good. I can teach you in 10 weeks though, and I'll be here to kick your butt. It's called kevinhogan.com/wealth accumulation system. Those are hyphens in between wealth and accumulation and system. Go there, check it out. Just read the copy. By the way, you can read the copy just to see what the copy is, because the copy is actually pretty good and you can learn something from the copy. All right. I will read your mind in the copy. All right. And you'll see how to actually implement. But if you want to do something for your life, long-term future, wealth accumulation system is very cool. I love it. I'm there every week. And that's the difference between this and anybody who does anything similar. Everybody else just puts you into a program and they sort of like push play and it's there whenever you want it. This is not that. All right. We start January 31st. Okay. And we start December 31st and we start at the end of every single month, and you're there with me for 10 weeks from that point. Yes, it's tiring, okay? But I'm with you. Like, so when you have a question, you're like, hey, Kev, how do I do this? How do you make that happen? Just like what Alex was saying, like, how do you read somebody's mind, do those psychic powers? You never would have known about that if Alex doesn't ask that, right? So you have the same situation with the wealth accumulation program. You've got me for 10 weeks, but I have an ulterior motive, so you should know about this. At the end of the 10 weeks, about 24% of the people that have taken this over the last 4 years become clients of mine long-term. Is it because I ask you? No, I will not ask you if you want to. I will not ask you to be my client, but the chances are extremely good that you'll ask me. That's weird, isn't it? All right. That's how I want you guys to have business work for you. I want people to ask you stuff. And that way, you know what happens then? You rule out the thing that I hate the most in life. Objections. Okay? Objections. I don't like objections. I don't like to hear no. I don't like to hear I think about it. I rather hear you say, Kev, I would like to work with you as a client or have you as a mentor and have you consult with my company for the next year. Is that interesting? It's like, and by the way, if it's interesting, I want it. And if I suck in your field, there's no chance I'll do it. So that's how that works. Okay. So wealth accumulation system is worth a look. kevinhogan.com. And by the way, if you are interested in copywriting, just for the hell of it, I don't know why I thought about this today. One of our unpublished books, in other words, it's just available on ebook in one of our courses, a digital marketing course. You don't need to take the course, but we've talked about copywriting today. I wrote a book on copywriting. It's 250 pages long. It's pretty good, and has some of the stuff that we do. I've written all the copy. I'll send you a copy free. Just send me a note that says you subscribe to Coffee, and we'll send you a copy of it. And it'll be like nobody has that outside of the course ever.